Hi, I'm Eleanor, and together with Maria, I am one of the co-directors of this year's Disability Summer School at the Centre for Disability Law and Policy in the National University of Ireland, Galway.
Hi, I'm Marini Lartha. I'm a research assistant in the Centre for Disability Law and Policy in NUIG, and I'm also co-director of this year's summer school.
So this year's summer school is going to be a bit different than our previous summer schools when we were all physically together in Galway. This year is going to be completely online, and so we hope that we'll have a lot of the familiar faces from previous summer schools and some new folks as well come back to join us in this virtual setting. So Maria, maybe you can explain a bit about what the topic for this year is going to be.
So this year we're looking at Article 30 of the CRPD, which obviously looks at culture, but also recreation, leisure, sport, all of these important things that are a really crucial part of, I suppose, the human experience. Also something we're all missing a lot more as we're in, depending on where you are in the world, you might have spent a lot of the last 12 months in a lockdown and we haven't had access to these things. But we're also seeing these things in these spaces move online and see different formats and different ways to access them. So we think it's a really good time to have this discussion.
Yeah, so the format's going to be different in this online setting. And so instead of just running for 1 week in Galway, we're going to run over 5 weeks, beginning on the 31st of May and ending on the 2nd of July. And the format is going to be that when you register to attend, each week on Monday, you will get an email in your inbox with some pre-recorded discussion panels that we'll have organized with some really excellent speakers from, disability activists to lawyers and advocates to commissioners of arts and culture events. So that will be in your inbox on Monday. And then on Wednesday each week, we will have a live discussion panel, which will be on Zoom, and you can sign up to participate. You will get a registration link in your email on Monday too. And then every week we will be doing some sort of group activity online later in the week on Thursday or Friday. And those range from a comedy stand-up session to a DJ'd dance party to a drafting exercise for guidance for interpreting the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. So Maria, maybe you can take us through the week by week what we're going to focus on in each of the 5 weeks.
Yes, as you guys, as those who've been to summer school before will know, we often kind of have themed days as we go from Monday to Friday in summer school. This is kind of reflected in kind of a week by week kind of each week kind of comes with the theme. So in week one, we will have a rather impressive keynote speaker, but we will also have like an introduction to Article 30, and we'll look at the entire scope of that and begin to look at how we're going to explore that, I suppose, as a group throughout summer school. In week two, we're going to be looking at like voices of people with disabilities in the media, both like in terms of television and online, but also in terms of written work. In week three, we're going to look at disabled people as artists and creators and how we can better facilitate that, and also the importance of that. And in week four, which I'm particularly excited about, we're going to look at sport, leisure and play. These are crucial elements of Article 30, but also there's some really significant discussions to be had around the role that they play in people's lives. And in week five, we're going to be looking at access to the arts more broadly and what we can do to facilitate that. So we have some really engaging speakers lined up that we'll be announcing over the next few weeks. And traditionally, summer school tends to be particularly focused on disability advocates and activists and academics, with some crossover there. This year, we'll have a much more varied range of voices with people from the arts and culture who are creators or facilitating access. It will still be the broad global community that we really like to bring together around summer school, but possibly going outside of what I suppose traditional human rights, and I say that sarcastically, looks to. So we're really excited to hear more about that, those different forms of activism. Before we've another thing about the summer school this year is that it's because we are moving on to this online format, we've put a lot of thought into how to make it work. Normally summer school is a really intense week and we can't recreate that online, or at least I would absolutely refuse to have those 12-hour days move online, it would be impossible. But we also didn't want to miss out on, I suppose, that like genuine learning opportunity that summer school presents, and also that participation. A lot of the time summer school is really defined by, I suppose, people getting really involved with things like our moosh or other participation exercises or craftivism. This year we are still really placing a huge emphasis on that participation, and there will be, as Eleanor explained, a participation activity every week. But we also recognize that people are kind of engaging with summer school from a very different context. So the format is done to both maximize participation, but also to recognize that people need flexibility in order to be able to engage. And we think we've done a good job of like retaining both of those things.
Yeah, so you can dip in and out of it as it suits you. You can watch the live session, or if you miss it because it's at a time that's very difficult for your time zone, you'll get a recorded version of it that you can watch back at a time that suits you. And you'll also have different platforms that you can use to communicate with the other attendees at summer school to make sure you can share information with them and get information from them. So if this sounds like something you'd be interested in, we would encourage you to sign up and register with us. You can register by going to cdlp.clr.events. So that's cdlp.clr.events. And the fees, we effectively halved the fees from previous years. So it's €200 for students or unwaged people, and 250 is the full fee. And that gets you access to all of the pre-recordings, all of the live events, and all of the participation activities. And there will be international sign language provided along with captioning to make sure the events are as accessible as possible for everyone. But if you have another form of access that you need, you can let us know about it when you register, and we'll do our very best to make sure that we make the event accessible to you. So we hope you sign up, we hope you register, and we hope to see you virtually from various living rooms, bedrooms, and home offices around Galway and the world, beginning on the 31st of May this year. Thanks.